Okay, we'll start with brief prayers. Om Ajnanatmanandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, in the last class, we talked about this karma, how there are two types, instant karma, that means the actions can come instantly back, or karma results that can come delayed a little bit later like that. And then in the human form of life, we have the discrimination to discriminate and lead a responsible life like that. So we don't engage in sinful activities of meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex like that. Yeah, we covered this right already. Just making sure. Was
Yeah, we covered it.
okay, good. And then we talked about these things. If you obey God's laws, following the principles of austerity, sacrifice, knowledge, and association of saints, then we can attain the supreme destination. That means we can go to spiritual world where there is no, where there are no, these problems are not there. Four problems of life: birth, old age, disease, and death that are there in material world. They're not there in spiritual world. That's what we talked about. So now, these are the, and we briefly talked about the ABCD principle: association of saintly persons, and reading and following the what we understand from scriptures, wisdom books, literature, chanting, any proper diet that is offered to Krishna, and then proper seva or service. These are the ways of obeying God's laws we talked about briefly. So now we transition to next topic. Before we transition to next topic, so this is talking. This is a Bhagavad Gita 16.22. That is 16 chapter 22nd verse. So the importance of getting free from these three bad qualities is described: lust, anger, and greed. A man who escapes these three gates of hell, lust, anger, and greed, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. Basically, other way of telling the same thing is mode of goodness that is free from these bad qualities of lust, anger, greed is a very suitable place for growing in spiritual life like that. And that way we can achieve the spiritual world. That's what is being talked about. So it is interestingly, by practicing spiritual life, we can overcome this lust and anger and greed. And then by not having lust, anger, and greed, we can practice spiritual life better. So it's like a symbiotic relationship between both of them, like that. So that's what is being highlighted here. And there's another verse from Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is describing once we go to the Krishna, we don't return to this temporary material world with this full of suffering because we already achieved the highest perfection like that. Now, that is the first part of the discussion we had last time. Now we're discussing about the minding your mind, how to control our mind like that. To do that, we're going to discuss two topics. One is the nature of the mind itself and how mantra meditation of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra helps in mind control also. So basically, if mind is controlled, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, if our mind is controlled, then it can be our best friend. If it is not control, it's our enemy, like that is discussed. It will be our greatest enemy. So the example is given often: a knife in the hands of a thief is a dangerous thing. But the knife in the hand of a surgeon is a wonderful thing. Same knife is used in a positive way and a negative way. Similarly, mind also is like that. If mind is controlled, same mind is best friend. If it's not controlled, same mind becomes the greatest enemy. Why is it called greatest enemy? Because it's not supporting our goals, what we want to do. So, actually, there's a knife for that. Knife is neither good or bad. In a surgeon's hand is good. In a miscreant's hand, it's not good because he will kill with it like that. Mm. Then, what are the drawbacks of uncontrolled mind? When the mind is cannot control, what all can happen? Our confidence will not be too much because mind will think, okay, I'm not good enough, like that, and it will fill us with depressive thoughts and can lead to depression. And nobody can trust us because one time I'll say I'll come, one time I'll say I will not come. One time I'll say I'll help you, another time will say I will not help you, like that. So no friendships can last because there's no trust can maintain, and it can lead to stress and hypertension, and the madness or dangerous diseases can come when mind is not controlled, because all the mental health industry is based on that only. Where mind is not controlled, that is a result of the different mental health diseases, like that. Of course, some mental health diseases also come because of chemical imbalance also. That leads to mind cannot be controlled also. And obviously it will damage ourselves and our family and society, and our determination will not be strong if mind is not controlled, like that. So essentially, our sense, if mind is not controlled, senses will not be controlled. Senses will be disturbed, and we will be. It's the characteristics of lusty intelligence. Also, is uncontrolled mind only. Okay. So now this is one of the examples of results of actions with uncontrolled mind. Rape, like that. Somebody cannot control their desire, or somebody cannot control their anger, and they result in murder, like that, for example. And then they take to intoxication. See, somebody is throwing things in anger because of they are not able to control mind, like that, and they easily pick quarrels. And some people, the mind gives so much trouble, they think it's better to take suicide than living, like that. And even prostitutes. The example is given about burning houses. Some people can result in this kind of damaging actions. Basically, that's the point. Yeah, just because they have uncontrolled mind, smoking, like that. And this, I don't know how many of you we discussed this in some sessions. I don't remember we discussed in this session. Did we discuss the chariot analogy before in these sessions with you, or any of you know what is the chariot analogy here that is discussed in Bhagavad Gita?
I remember something, Prabhuji, like these five horses are five senses.
Yeah.
Uh, and the last one at the back of it is soul. In the middle, who writes is the body or mind.
Ah, yes. Let me tell you. This sense, good. You remember the most of it. Five senses. Horses are like the five senses that we have. Chariot is the body. This is the analogy, and this reins is the intelligence. So one way to remember easily is, how the hierarchy of science senses. Above senses is mind. Above mind is intelligence. Above intelligence is soul, like that. So senses and then mind is the reins, the one that we're holding, and then the driver is the intelligence, and then the passenger is the spirit soul, like it. So what is being explained in this picture? These five senses: the mind is the reins, intelligence is the driver, and the passenger is soul. So if the mind is not controlled, that means if we are not holding the reins tightly, then senses cannot be controlled. Then what happens is senses will say, horses will say, I want to go left, I want to go right, like that. They'll go in different directions. So we cannot go in the direction that we want anymore. But if soul can direct the intelligence, So intelligence can direct the mind can direct the senses. Then we can go proceed in the direction that we want to go in the chariot like that. So that is what is being described here. So in this picture, see, horses are trying to go different ways. So this guy is actually falling down like that. So, so actually, Bhagavad Gita uses the knowledge of yoga, how to do yoga. So that way we can control our intelligence, we can strengthen our intelligence, we can strengthen our mind, and that helps in controlling the mind, which helps in controlling the senses also. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita second chapter, Krishna describes one who is a Sthitaprajna. Sthitaprajna is the one who has fixed transcendental intelligence. He fixes his mind and senses by engaging in devotional service like that. So basically, one principle from Bhagavad Gita we learn is we can control our mind and senses by engaging them in Krishna's service, devotional service like that. Then some of the practical ways of mind management control. So for managing the self, self has the three aspects: body, words, and the mind. So by regulating our body, our words, our speech, and the mind, it can promote wisdom and satisfaction. So how do you regulate our body? By worshipping the Supreme Lord and by worshipping the teachers, mentor, father, and mother like that. So this, if you see the right hand side, this is referring to Bhagavad Gita chapter 17, text 14 to 16. What are these verses about? In these verses, Krishna talks about austerity of the body, austerity of the mind, austerity of speech also. So that's what is being described here. In 14th verse, he talks about austerity of the body. So this means worship of the Supreme Lord teachers means we are obedient to the Supreme Lord, obedient to the teachings of Supreme Lord, teachers, father and mother like that. And then we follow the direction. And then we keep our body clean by externally bathing every day. And then we keep things simple by acting according to scripture. Acting means with the body we are doing things. So whatever we're doing with the body, we're acting in alignment with scripture. That is the simplicity. And then no sex outside marriage or no illicit sex. That's another way of maintaining cleanliness. And then non-violence also. That means we don't hurt others. Those are the austerity of body as Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita. So these are all will help us in self-management or self-regulation. So austerity of the speech. So the Bhagavad Gita 17th chapter 15th verse, it's a famous verse. Anudvega karam vakyam satyam hitam priyam chaivat, like that is described. So anudvega karam, that means the speech should be not hesitating to others. Satyam, speak should be truthful. Priyam, it should be pleasing. And then hitam, beneficial. And then not only that, you should be we should use the speech for regularly reciting Vedic literature. This is called Swadhyaya. We should regularly recite Vedic literature. That's the best way of using our speech function like that. And by reading scriptures and reciting them, we're utilizing the speech properly. So there, so another example from Prabhupada's purport of that was that only teacher can correct others, the students. But if somebody is not my student, I should not correct them like that. So this is very, very useful for self-management to achieve our goals, material, spiritual goals, both. So if we regularly speak truth, then people will trust us more. And if we speak in a pleasing way, that helps us in maintaining our relationship with others. And people tend to listen if you speak pleasingly. If you shout, they may not listen easily. And beneficial means we're speaking if if it is helpful for others. Otherwise, we don't just bore them like that. Basically, with a service mood, we speak basically in a beneficial way. What does that mean? For example, if our speaking is not helping others to do service properly, then we don't speak rather. But if we speak in such a way that others can do better service, then we speak. So that's the austerity of speech in Bhagavad Gita. Then finally, austerity of the mind. Austerity of mind is exhibited with gravity in thought. That means thinking seriously, not always joking. There's a time when joking has a place in our life to have some fun, but not all the time, because gravity is important to think you deeply, to act deeply and at a much higher level, based on much higher principles like that. And then another austerity of mind is satisfaction. That means whatever we have in our life, whether whatever our body currently allows us today, and whatever strength of mind we have, we're satisfied with that and engage productively with whatever we have, whatever capacities we have, whatever abilities we have, like that. And then simplicity also. That means don't think everything, make it too complex. Keep it simple, like that. And then controlling the self, the purification of one's existence. So that means utilizing mind for chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, for example. That's an austerity of the mind because it helps us to calm the mind, like that. So these are some of the practical tips for self-management. Then how to calm the raging mind? By, you see the picture, when we think about Krishna, that helps in calming the mind. Because in the last slide we saw gravity in thought, satisfaction. How do this all come? When we meditate on Krishna, when we meditate on service of Krishna, then that helps in calming the mind. Whereas if you're meditating on sense gratification in different forms, then that doesn't help. So there are few tips in this from the 16th verse, our state of mind was. In the last slide, we listed the items. We're going a little bit more deep now. Satisfaction of the mind. Mind is our state of the mind. One of them is satisfaction. That's opposite to the greed. The way to be satisfied is don't compare with others unnecessarily. Compare with our own self. How I can be better than yesterday? How I can be better than last year? Like that. So other ways to express it is make a better version of yourself, like that, instead of comparing with others. Why not? Because each of us is given a special quality by Krishna, special strength by Krishna. So somebody can do some extraordinary things in one area. We may be able to do another extraordinary thing in a different area. So we should be happy with what we can do. One time somebody mentioned that if a fish is judged by climbing the tree, it will never succeed. Similarly, if a bird is judged based on his swimming strength, it will never be successful. Similarly, each of us also. One of us is good at speaking, one of us is good at serving. That's still wonderful because each of us is engaged in service of Krishna some or other. So we should be happy with the gifts that Krishna has given us, and instead of comparing with others and feel bad about it. And then we practice being grateful. That means generally satisfaction comes when I meditate on what I already have and I'm grateful for that to the Lord for that. Then I'll be successful. I'll be satisfied. Otherwise, I'll be thinking, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have this. Instead, I need to learn to cultivate gratitude for what I already have. There are people who in the world who cannot eat, who don't have food to eat, who don't have a place to sleep, who don't have warm clothes like us in this cold winter. We should be grateful for that. Then that's for this thing. See what you have. Yeah. And then utilize the mind to read scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Ramayana, Mahabharata, like that. That also helps us in cultivating satisfaction of the mind instead of trying to get more, and like that. And then remember, we talked about gravity of thought that goes with silence also. Instead of useless talk, we talk only when there is meaningful value in talking. So we don't make rumors, we don't back talk. and we don't gossip about others, that will eventually lead to clashes and conflict only. Instead, like we discussed in the last slide, 1715, we speak honestly, truthfully, words of wisdom, and we learn to appreciate good in others, because our mind tendency is to see faults in others normally, but instead we should practice seeing good in others. That's a good quality we can cultivate. So then, simplicity is opposite of duplicity. What does duplicity means? That means I think something, but I externally pose something else. I'm internally something, but externally pose something else, like that. So we should avoid frivolous speech and behavior and lead a simple life free from duplicity. Always think of doing good for others. And then self-control. This is the opposite of sense gratification. Instead of always thinking, maza aana chahiye, we should get good enjoyment all the time with everything we're doing. That is a way of not getting satisfied and becoming angry. If you're always looking for enjoyment, that will never going to fulfill. So the one way of self-control we discussed is by being detached from these four sinful activities: illicit sex, meat, intoxication, and gambling. And opposite of those irreligious principles is in the match formula. That is mercy, M for mercy, A for austerity, T for truthfulness, C for cleanliness, and chanting the holy name. That helps us in self-control. So the four religious principles of mercy, austerity, truthfulness, and cleanliness, opposite of these is these things like that. For example, illicit sex is opposite of cleanliness, and meat eating is opposite of austerity. I'm sorry, mercy. Intoxication is opposite of austerity, because intoxication means you don't know what you're doing. You cannot be austere. Same, gambling is opposite of truthfulness, because in gambling generally lies are involved, cheating is involved, like that. And the last thing is about sanctification. That means, mm, we treat others as the way we want to be treated. We treat others, other women other than my wife, as mother. We don't exploit others' wealth, and we perform activities that are sanctioned for us to do, not to encroach on others' property, like that. That's the way we can calm the mind and have a controlled mind, like that. Then, so we are still on the subject of nature of mind and mind control. So we talked about how different things we could do to control mind, like this in last few slides. So we started with the chariot analogy of the mind by controlling intelligence. Then that can control mind and that can control senses, we talked about. And we discussed about our state of body, speech, and mind. And specifically the mind, we talked about different qualities, how we can practice these by Zen Bhagavata. Now, how can we change our habits from bad habits to good habits? That is by changing the mental script. Mental script means what we are feeding to the mind. So habits are addictive. Okay. So yeah, the different ways of bad habits is describing here. But the solution number one is, we talked about it briefly before in one of the sessions. If you remember, I talked about this Gigo principle in the class when I was there in temple one of the days, which is garbage in, garbage out, or good in, good out, like that. So when you feed the mind with positivity, we'll also behave positively. But if you're always with negative people, we'll behave negatively only. So that means we have to be careful what scripts we are feeding the mind with, based on what we are reading, based on what we're watching, based on what we are hearing, based on what kind of friends we keep with. Based on this association, we're feeding the appropriate things to the mind, basically. So this is in and out, like that, right? Okay. Now, so we talked about solution one is Gigo principle. And then next solution is a higher principle, which is meditation. from the scientific perspective and medical perspective also. Basically, by performing meditation, even this Dr. Herbert Benson, it seems, uh, he did the research to understand that there are four basic elements of prayers, which is in a quiet environment, sit in a comfortable position, and repeat a prayer, and um, maintain a positive attitude, free from other negative thoughts like that. So he described overall metabolism of the body also improves by slowing down the metabolism like that. So heart rate and breathing rates decrease the blood flow, it seems, and then blood pressure also gets controlled like that. So this is a PhD thesis. This Dr. David Brian Wolf did on chanting Hare Krishna. Basically, he concluded by chanting Hare Krishna mantra regularly, uh, even people who are habitually, regularly thinking depressing thoughts, like I'm worthless, I'm useless, like that, they can turn around to positive, rewarding, and supportive thoughts for the self-esteem like that. That's a benefit of side benefit of chanting also. And then the mantra that we chant is man plus tra. Man means mind. Tra means trayate iti mantra. That means deliver the mind. That means mantra is something that will deliver our mind like that. So that's why we regularly chant our Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is a scientific measurement they did by subjects like that. And then this is another slide showing how scientists understood that by meditation, mind is in this alert, relaxed alert zone like that. So if somebody is in mode of ignorance, they are in the sleepy zone or drowsy zone. If somebody is in mode of passion, they are in active zone. And very active is hyperactive zone. But if somebody is in middle mode of goodness, that is the state that chanting will take us, then we are very productive and active enough also like that, not over agitated. So they call it alpha zone also. So through mantra meditation also helps in, first thing we talked about is how it helps in developing positive thoughts. Second thing we understood is mantra meditation, how it helps in relaxed active zone, alert zone where there. And then it also helps in bad habits. Even though many people, many devotees find that they overcome certain bad habits by strength of chanting. Even the four regulative principles, devotees are able to practice because of the strength of the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra only. Otherwise, it's very difficult to follow. So that's what is being described. And then this is another, when Prabhupada was there here on this planet, when he started the movement in US, many of you might know that time many people who came were not having good habits. They're hippies. That means they're not clean. They're drinking. They're taking drugs like that. They all become happy. This is the uh, Radhesham Prabhu's slide. May Lord bless you to become free from all vices and imbibe all virtues and bring forth unending bliss. So what we discussed in this session today is about nature of mind. So we should be careful what we feed our mind with the Gigo principle, or with the right kind of association, the right kind of input that we're giving through eyes, ears, like that. Take the right association. And then we also discussed how chanting Hare Krishna Mantra helps in controlling the mind and developing positivity in our thoughts. And also it helps us in getting over the bad habits that we might have like that. Yeah, those are few thoughts. I'll pause here. I'll give some time for you to share something you got from this session that you find might help us. Then we can chant one round Hare Krishna after each of you share one thing.
One thing I like is Prabhuji, like we have to become better person without like talking some about others without their presence, like backbitching or something, some rumors, this kind
Yeah.
of things we shouldn't do. So like every person has that, so I just wanted to remove that from my end.
Mm. Wonderful. That's a very good quality to develop. It requires some self-restraint, but it's beneficial for us. Yes. Very good point to Vasant. Yeah. Who would like to share next?
Yeah, I like the principle of Gigo, Prabhuji. Good in,
Mm.
good out.
Mm.
Yeah, like by following that one principle only, like, I can tell, like, we can be a good person, like, we can think about only, like, the mind will only come with the good thoughts and everything. So, whatever the good in we take, so we can reciprocate that to out.
Very nice, Sai Teja. Yeah, you got the important principle. Yes. Perfect. Thank you. Prabhas?
Prabhu, if we go into bhakti, then we can automatically avoid the bad habits and all. Yeah,
Mm. So specifically, what in Bhakti will help a lot?
yeah. So, to come, it's I know it's really difficult to come into bhakti, but like by following some rules like daily chanting Hare Krishna mantra and all, we can come into bhakti automatically.
Yeah, very nice point you got. Yes. That is the essence. In fact, that's the foundational principle for us. If we chant Hare Krishna mantra, that gives us the strength to go into Bhakti fast and also helps in avoiding bad habits. Very good point, Prabhas. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Good. I don't know where you are, depending upon your situation. If it's comfortable for you, you can turn on the videos and we can chant together. If you're not in a position to turn on, that's absolutely okay. No worries. Yeah. So we can chant together the Hare Krishna mantra for one round. Okay. Thank you, Prabhas. So we'll start with the mantra. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Yeah, you can feel free to unmute yourself also. That's absolutely okay because we're practice session, right? Together. That's okay if you want. So we can chant together. Okay, we'll start now. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare,